I'm Jeremy with Brogan Group and also a Landscaper Advisor, Efficiency Advisor. And today we're going to show you how the RX2 survey gear works. So this is a unit that is a fairly cheap solution to your pickups before you start your design process. So we'll show you what a designer would typically do on heading out to a job before pre-design. So he's picking up all of his measurements. Traditionally, you would use a roller with a measuring wheel or a tape or string lines or zip levels or lasers just to get those elevations. So this is basically a zip level or measuring tape combined into one. So it's very efficient for doing your takeoffs on your projects, especially landscaping. So I guess I'll just go back further on to why this started. I've been a Landscaper Advisor for the past year, and I would continuously go to each project, each crew, and I would ask them, where's the most wasted time that you see out in the field? And they all said the same thing: design not matching field conditions. At first, I brushed it off. I was thinking, well, maybe they need to use the measure tape properly or continue with the zip level. I always knew survey was the solution, but I didn't think it was cost effective for the small contractors until someone introduced me to Emlid. Emlid is a very cost effective solution to that problem. And when I introduced it to Groff Landscaping just previous 3 months ago, it's working excellent. So for this device, just the head itself, $2,400, $300 for the pole, and your data collector is actually your cell phone. So yeah, we'll get into it. And then, sorry, with that, there is a RTK network subscription that you would pay $1,500 for the year. So that avoids the base and rover. So that technology is quite new, the whole network system. Typically you would have a base and a rover, and it's not very user friendly for the everyday folks because you gotta have a known point, you gotta measure it off, and the RTK network solution is the solution. So anyways, we'll get into it, and yeah, I'll get onto my phone here, and what we're gonna show you is how to set up a project on the phone, and then we're going to do a takeoff of this apartment complex. Whether you're doing commercial or residential, it'll all resonate for you. Okay, we're just going to get right into it. We'll have the Emlid Flow app. We're connected. We're just going to go right from the app. So we're going to open our Emlid app. We're connected to our RX2 layout device. Good there. Our status is good. N-trip over Bluetooth is what we'll be working off of. And our settings are good. So let's just jump into a new project. I just started here. Here we go. Start project. Demo. The Drake. It's the Drake residence we're at here. Author is Jeremy. Description, pickup points for design. Done. Our code library is basically the abbreviations for the design. So when we pick up our points and we send them off in a CSV or a DXF or whatever your software is compatible with, and we'll go over that in a minute. And then next would be your local coordinate system. We're in Florida East, and our vertical datum. So we want to make sure that if our software is working off local datum, that these are exactly the same. Like Vectorworks does work off a datum rather than, so Dynoscape would use an AutoCAD file, DXF, and that's what's compatible with them. So we're going to go US survey feet, grid, and grid north. Okay, we're going to save this project. It's asking me to move the receiver, calibrate the IMU tilt compensation. And we got a connection. So you can see here on we have our rover, and because we're not running a base and rover, we're running off a RTK network system. Okay, so first I would start off with come follow me, and we'll start with the building. So we're going to press connect with that. We'll use the building and lineage to start. So I'm not going to go fully around this whole building, but we'll start off on this corner. Save, pick at one point. Now this is going to give me a distance and elevations as I'm taking these shots. So depending on the terrain, I would take more shots. If it's fairly consistent, the grade around here, I would just 1 or 2 shots is fine. And we're going to pick this corner up. And notice how I have it on an angle. Because it does have tilt compensation, it basically has a device inside IMU where it will tell the angle of the pole and the distance of the pole. So it will give you an accurate description. So you can tell where we're in a fairly covered area. And sometimes it'll be difficult to pick up these points, but with the new antenna on the new RX2, they're quite strong. So it's asking us, because we're losing satellite, we have regained it. And just so I have a good signal from the satellites, I'll keep it on an angle here like I described earlier. Boom, save, pick up that point. And here's a very covered area. Look at the umbrella system up there. So that would be typically a difficult shot for a survey equipment, and it will pick it up. It might take a second. There we go. Waiting for fix. Gonna watch out for snakes back here. Okay. So we got a signal. We're in a fairly covered area, and just goes to show the capabilities of this unit compared traditionally. So we'll move up front. We'll grab, let's grab these air conditioner units on the way out. So we are done here. We're going to move on to another point. Let's move the receiver. Okay, say we are done. Okay, now let's move on to an AC unit. We don't have that code in there, so let's add an AC code. Code name is AC unit. So we can go with points or lines. So I think I would rather use lines. You can use a point as picking up plants or anything that there's, let's say there's a valve, maybe a water release valve or a shutoff valve for the house, the curb stop. You can pick up that as a point. But for something as large as an AC unit, I would use a line and then save. So we'll just pick this up, the 4 corners. I gotta calibrate because we're in the I'll pick up this point here. And then we can just close that up. Okay, so now we got our air conditioner. We're gonna go back. We're gonna do another air conditioner. Close that up. Pick that point up. As we move along, it looks like we have some sort of maybe a clean out here, a sewer clean out by the looks of it. So it will be, we'll find a new code for the sewer manhole, sewer line. Just to be for clarity, I think I'll just add my own sewer clean out. And this will be a point. So we'll click on point. Say if we pick that point and the elevation. So typically they'll put on most drawings, it's just a sewer clean out. There's no elevation, or sometimes they just miss it. And the guys will have this mentality, well, they can just figure it out in the field. And that's what we're trying to eliminate. And we'll show you another example here in a minute. just follow me. We've got a palm tree here that I will add as well. Palm tree. Sorry, let's just add that right away. Save. And another point here. Picked up this palm tree. Let's pick up another one. Let's say we have a dog. Pick up after your pet, a poopy pouch, they call it. So let's add a poopy pouch to this pickup. I'm sure they don't have poopy pouch on the Emlid 360 list. So poopy pouch, done. So that's a point. We'll pick that up, and we have the poopy pouch picked up. So this is a level of detail when you're doing your pickup points where you can get. So we're identifying all the issues, and this is one person doing this. There's not two people with string lines. We don't have zip levels we're setting up. It's easy as that. So we'll go back to palm tree since we're on the palm tree unit or the pickup points. We got one over here. And then let's actually, since we're here, let's pick up, for an example, this fence line. Now, we'll say this is the start of the backyard of any fence line, and we'll run all the way through. Now that we have 360, I can actually run two lines and pick up a line on the bottom and a line on the top, so we know the top of elevation. And fence is definitely going to be in there. I know fence, chain link, fence, concrete. Look at that. Okay, so this is a line. So I'll pick this one up. You really don't need that many. You could go from one end to the other because the grade is quite consistent there. And then we'll have to do another, start another one over to grab the top of fence or top of wall. And they do have that in here. Okay, we're just starting a new line. We'll pick one up here. So now we have the bottom of wall, top of wall elevations, that quick. So that didn't take long. So we're gonna move on to another one. It's all these different details, like the elevations of your sod compared to the curb, your elevations from a difficult trunk. Let's say this trunk over here could cause us troubles just because there's a 3-inch difference. I could do like a whole line around here, and it will show that elevation. That'll describe that on one side it's 3 inches higher, 4 inches higher. It depends on the level of detail. Right here, I would like to pick up this point, and this is something that is continuously happening out with designers. If you can see that, it's a drain point from the building. It's going nowhere. And typically, this would be one of those situations where the designers will just say, well, the guys need to figure it out in the field, when that shouldn't be the case at all. It should be figured out before it gets out in the field. So I would go ahead, drain, invert. Let's save that. So it is a point. Okay, move the receiver. Once in a while, if we lose signal, we just want to calibrate this thing, and that's good. So here we're going to pick up this invert of this pipe. And then I can add a description on here that, unknown, speak to owner, done. So that way, when we bring back this surface back to the design area, we can suggest that, hey, well, you have a drain point here. Your elevation is higher out in the lawn. It has nowhere to go. You have possible pooling in this area. How about we just install a drain out to the curb edge? So that's one other use where you could say, hey, another change order or whatever that may be. Hopefully it's not a change order. You want to solve that issue before it gets out in the field. And that's important because it's a whole mindset out there, is that we're giving the guys drawings and we're asking them to figure out the drawings rather than having it figured out before they get out there. And that's the mindset change we need to change in this industry, because industrial and commercial, they've been doing it for years. And the reason why is that this is precision tool device that eliminates almost 90% of all of those issues of unknowns. Like that you would call that an unknown. They would walk right by it and ignore that and let the guys figure it out in the field. So when the guys are trying to figure it out in the field, you can picture the crew leader. He's shooting elevations. He's got the laser out. He's got a zip level. He's trying to figure out what to do with this. He's speaking to the owner. He's talking to the supervisor. Meanwhile, the crew's trying to do all of their work in the field, and now they're shorthanded because their crew leader is distracted by something that should have been figured out before they went out. The design was even issued. So again, 90% of the time, that's what happens. Let the guys figure out in the field, and that's the wrong mindset. Let's have all of these issues figured out before they go into the field. Let's, you can go on and pick up all these points, pick up all the ACs, pick up the windowsills. You could honestly, as much detail as that you want on your drawings that are accurate to the centimeter. So let's just show you quickly how to export this data. So now, as you can see, I can export this file in a CSV. Custom CSV is what I typically use, is because it'll give you all of the details on the points. And then we have a DXF file that is more compatible with AutoCAD, KML, shapefile, and so yeah, that's how you pick up your points. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Very simple, user friendly. Okay, and then I'll show you how to do a stakeout, what a stakeout in the field would look like. Okay, so just for an example, we would typically import a file into this project. We would go into import, and then we would import the file. So we sent the design off to the designers. They did their design, and now they're going to export us a file, whether it's CSV, KML, DXL, shapefile. There's lots to choose from. So they would send that file back. Let's say there was a pool, and I'll demonstrate a pool, what that would look like on this project. Okay, we're gonna add a pool point. So let's go back here, add the pool. All right, pool point 1. We'll just do a quick pool point, create a pool here. This would be a lot more. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do a stakeout demo on what that would look like. So this is if you were typically squaring off a house. You pull your string line off of there, then you do your 4 corners and then square it up. So with this device, it would come from design. They'd have it all perfect. They'd have their coping. You get all the perfect detail. And for this demonstration, I just made a quick square to see what that would be like. And here we go. Let's do the stakeout. And so this is what it would look like. So this is telling me that I am within tolerance, and we could start staking out our line. I would do a paint line here and go around all the different corners. There we go. So we're on the line. I'd make another paint line, and I'd do my full square of the pool for bottom of X. It'll give you the bottom of excavation, your cut and you fill. You can see it up on the top there. You fill your offsets, whatever that might be. So that's basically how the stakeout works. I'll do another demo of the stakeout. Now they have better units than the RX2, like the RS4 Pro, and that'll give you an actual video of your camera that has a camera on the device itself, and it would bring you exactly to that point. Like the RX2 is definitely a good entry level unit just to get your head wrapped around it, but the RX4 Pro, I was one of the first ones to get my hands on one, and I used one at my previous client, and it was just great for stakeout because it would just show on your camera rather than the lineage that you see here. It would give you the full video to points to where you had to go. So it was really cool. So this is a demonstration for picking up all your points. And then also I showed you how to export it. It's quick and easy. The guys are out in the field. The designer doesn't really have to come out, although it is good to get a lay of the land, but somebody else, the project manager with the initial consultation, they can pick up all these points, the square houses, the tree with, 20 minutes. They can have that depending on the size of the backyard, but very cool, very neat, handy. And this is the foundation of GPS ecosystem. So you can have your GPS guided equipment would work off of that surface. So the GPS is like a language, it's a language from the very beginning. This is a foundation of what you're starting your project off of. And when that speaks to your design software speaks back to the unit and to do your layout. And also it could speak to your GPS guided excavator. So now that the pricing for the 2D control system on the mini excavators, you can get one uploaded onto your equipment for right around $17,000, and you could use Emlid equipment rover heads on top of the excavator that you just screw in. So you can use it on the excavator, you can use it out in the field. The equipment's very versatile in the function. So you could be digging with that one unit one day, and the next day you could be doing layout or picking up points. So this equipment is very versatile in the functionality of what you're using. So it's really great. I was introduced to Emlid maybe not even 6 months ago, and I just knew that this was going to change the landscaping industry based on affordability, and it's not complex to operate. Because at one time you would need survey equipment. We started 15 years ago in the landscaping industry with survey equipment, but those projects were large. They were $5 to $10 million landscape projects on these high profile clients. And it was justifiable to spend $80,000 to $100,000 on survey equipment and then pay for a surveyor. Here, anybody can be a surveyor. Anybody can do these pickup points, and anybody can do a layout. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And then next video, I'm going to show you the Pix 4D on how that works. How you can, rather than picking up all these little points with the pole itself, you can use photogrammetry, LiDAR, and it's linked to the GPS or the RTK network system. And you can basically fly through this whole backyard in minutes. That would take you 20 minutes. It would take you maybe 5 minutes to do this whole yard. And that's every detail, every ledge, every tree. Anyways, I can go on, and I'll save that for the next episode for the Pix 4D. We'll do the exact same yard or this surface here, and we'll just for time wise, it's remarkable how quick it is. So saving time, being more efficient, that's what it's all about. But for starters, kick it off with the RX2, because this also is used. You can spin this off and use this for the Pix 4D as well. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.